All
interesting.
right,
Now
we're
this
on.
is right. This looks messy, right? But it's not as messy as it actually seems because it
Cool.
captures quite a few things.
Who's
Um,
Takagi Kensuke?
well, I don't know. I just use his free template on
Oh,
Unreal.
okay, sweet. Okay. All right.
Um, so, right, what we got here is the Dreamcatcher ecosystem, which you could haven't figured out how best to display it, but I don't really care because all the information's
Yep.
here.
Yep.
Um,
That sounds awesome, dude. That looks awesome and it sounds awesome. I
yeah.
can't wait to
Now,
dig into it more.
yeah. Importantly, what it does is shows how users move from one hat to another. And inside this is grossly simplified, obviously, but as the main things. So consumer, funder, contributor, and demander are all there, but these are all just instances of users. Now the context diagram really is externally looking, so I'll find a nice way of linking all those to users. These are all instances of users that contract with the gateway company
Mm-hmm.
that holds the legal contracts and provides templates to make it easy. Um, think also those legal contracts need to go through the authentication for just proof of you or who you say, because legal contract signature, all that kind of thing. Um, Gateway company also I think holds the JSON core standard and provides the payment gateways, possibly more than one, but for now, yeah, Stripe. Cool.
Okay.
Um, Now, all of this you can pretty much bundle in. So let's take as for shorthand, Dreamcatcher runs on Dreamcatcher host environment, which that consumes JSR, external APIs, Deno, and so
Cool,
on.
man.
And then those contracts lie with the Dreamcatcher company, because I doubt if Deno would want to, contract to this weird gateway thing. It's like, where are we going to go from there? But that Dreamcatcher company then passes through the gateway company.
So you're saying that the Dreamcatcher company is a subsidiary of the Gateway company because that would be equivalent to if you were purchasing hosting services. You can start with your crappy little VPS shared computer, then you can move up to a proper virtual machine, and then ultimately, if you're serious enough, you get a bare metal server.
Sort of, but not a subsidiary. I think the relationship is Dreamcatcher contracts through the gateway company, so they are at arm's length, because we need to maintain the governance of the JSON core, which is a separate thing from actually making money using the system.
Uh,
So
okay. I don't the control of it. I don't think we need to. We should delete the control of it. It's just simply it's an open source system, and the control is we choose to use it. That's all.
yeah, that's true, but well, I think we should have, although it's open source and anyone can fork and do whatever they want with it, what the gateway company does is bundle up a whole bunch of useful things. The most useful thing you see here is you can, where's my mouse pad? Users can contract with a single thing, external user level companies. So, random company that wants to have a huddle of a whole bunch of naps and stucks, and they've got an intent that will put an escrow against that, so they want an outcome. They just contract once with the gateway company. The gateway company is the one that holds the contracts, and that opens up all these other pathways. So once you've got
All right.
users,
So,
external companies,
so
and
I got a bunch of use cases that I would like to test you with.
yeah,
if I am a Lone Ranger building bots and I want to get a modification to a prompt done,
Mm-hmm.
how do I put money into escrow to get it done?
Okay, right. You register as a user with the gateway company, so there's your contract, as in terms of services, that sort of thing. Um, that allows you to be any one of user, consumer, funder, contributor. In this case, you'd be a funder. The funder would then provide escrow funds to
Who
get
who would I
something
pay
done.
to? Who would I pay to?
You'd pay to the payment provider, which where's the payment gateway?
What name would
There.
show on the invoice?
The invoice payment gateway is provided by Stripe, but the contract between Stripe is with the gateway company.
So it'd be like Dreamcatcher Gateway UK LLC Stripe
I think so. Yeah.
account. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
All right.
Yeah, because that
And
keeps it nicely,
yeah,
arm's
yeah.
length.
So that's the payment. Now, who, as the funder, who's responsible for my money? Actually, sorry, that I know who's responsible for the money. The gateway company is responsible because it's not
Yep.
escrow. It's
Yep. Yep.
it's strictly not escrow. It's a service prepayment,
Yes. Yes.
and what I believe is inescapable is that the gateway company is entering into liability with the funder to produce the work product as specified for the funds given or return the money,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That
So
means that the
this is
gateway
the
company is responsible for all the wrangling that comes in when the user says, hey, you released my funds, but actually this is not good enough, right?
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
And there's an arbitration here, which is around standards. The JSON core standards are, one standard, but we've got AI inside of here deciding, okay, so this escrow piece has been
Well, wait, why did you say
complied with.
JSON Standard Core? Why did you bring that into the mix? I think that's got nothing to do with the quality of work being done for prepayment.
No, that's right. But there are a number of things that the gateway company, they're basically the bastions. Now, the inside of the Dreamcatcher, you can do anything you want. You can be shysters, like you can be saints. But so long as you have these contracts, it's the gateway company that manages.
So the
You go
gateway
to.
company is a risk-bearing entity in the real world,
Yep.
and when you're a funder, you're not contracting with the contributors, you're contracting with the gateway company, and the gateway company is contracting with the contributors and agreeing to pay them based on these terms.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And then the gateway company is also promising to, it's got a relationship with Stripe. All right. So
Yep.
that's all well and good. Now, the
And
second
a bit of an
question,
insurance thing. There's a bit of an insurance piece here as well, which I'm not putting yet.
yeah, I will
But
delay that or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So the second story I want to test is as
Mm-hmm.
a contributor,
Mm-hmm.
if I, so we got this funder, he's put up some money to change a prompt.
Mm-hmm.
I, as the contributor, agree with the rules of the game. I contribute and I pass the QA system.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And where's my money?
Well, the QA system, because the funder and the contributor have agreed that Dreamcatcher agrees with all the governance, which is why I was going into that a bit more. But the governance of this, things like if this AI says you've solved this problem, then you get paid out escrow. Um, then because they've got the contracts individually with the gateway company, you get paid through Stripe.
Okay. What if I don't want to get paid just now and want to leave my money sitting there?
Um, is that just a matter of uh, how we the gateway company deals with their Stripe
Okay, so
account?
I
So
would then have a balance of
yep,
Stripe dollars
yep, that's probably
with
with Stripe. Yeah, I don't know how it works actually inside of Stripe.
it'd be with the gateway company, but you to be a contributor that receives a payment in that way, you would either need to it doesn't have to be Stripe. Like we could choose to pay you in, say, USDC or some other
Yeah,
kind of
or yeah, yeah, or
whatever.
crypto or anything.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so now right now you have a balance with the gateway company of some amount, right?
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, let's say I, as the user, also have a pet project going on and I want a React component done. I just got
oh, I
paid.
see where you're going with this one. I think this is fine, but I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in securities, but what I think is it is covered. So you've got gateway company is the holder of funds.
Yep.
Well, actually, it's the one that talks to Stripe Bank, and it's like that's really where your funds are, or any crypto gateway, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Um, Now, the Dreamcatcher has already agreed with the gateway company how it's going to deal with that. But the Dreamcatcher does not hold funds. It
No.
just holds the decisions and the hashes of what's being
It's
done.
just a data block. It's just
Yeah,
a
yeah,
very large set of data, right?
right.
That's all
So
it is.
yeah, in the case you just said, it's like I've earned a bunch and now want to spend a bunch without taking it off platform.
Off platform, yeah,
Um,
that's what I'm getting at.
yeah.
Okay. So
So
so the gateway company actually has quite a bit of liability because
yeah,
it's like, if His Majesty's tax department comes sniffing around, the
yeah,
gateway company is the first door that they knock at to be
yeah,
like, yeah, okay.
yes, yeah, yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
if there are
Now,
disputes,
why
sorry,
is the Dreamcatcher company separate from the gateway company?
because this needs to be at arm's length because we've chosen various external companies that it's going to be difficult, for example, to talk to Deno and say, actually, Deno, can you contract with this gateway company and then we'll
No,
contract with the
why?
gateway
What?
company and
No,
so on?
what? The purpose of the gateway company, I thought, was so that it could, on behalf of its members, enter into contractual arrangements
Well,
with other legal entities.
yeah. Here's an interesting point because it also counts to external APIs, right?
Yeah, so it's got like an OpenAI account.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, and this is a choice that we've got, right? So at the moment, the host environment is the one. Well, the company buys well, basically what we're doing at the moment. License with Deno, JSR, OpenAI,
a service, not a license.
s- service. Yep. And then provides that as a host to all this goodness and loveliness.
Right.
Um, yeah.
It provides an
So
instance of the standard environment.
yeah.
Right.
So now that could be uh, um, you could choose something else other than Deno. You could, I don't know, run your own server rack in your, loft or whatever you
In
want.
your mum's garage. Yep.
Exactly. Um, that is, I think, at arm's length with the other part of the legal thing, which is a user turns up, the lone wolf, and a company turns up, is effectively just another type of user,
Yep.
contracts for something for an outcome.
For an outcome or for usage? Like, are they trying to consume hosting or are they trying to get a stuck solved?
No, this is very much not usage.
Not
This
usage. Okay,
is
why have you got users separate from the Dreamcatcher and the user? Why is the user demander and user consumer? How are those different from the user that you've got linked up to the gateway company?
because I'm not very good at diagramming. So you see
Oh, okay.
user colon that. This is a user with the hat on as a consumer. This is a user, the hat on as a demander, contributor, funder.
Why
So
did
they're
you
exactly the
prefix
same.
them with user? Like, why distinguish between user consumer, user demander? Why not just call them, like, you got all these things that have got user in front of them, but there's nothing else that has that. Like,
Yeah.
there's no
And
need to have
again,
a user.
this is diagramming what was.
Are you trying to? I think let me have a stab at it. Are you trying to say that this red dot is like the
A
variable
user.
resolves to
Yeah,
being one of
right.
these four and then connects up here, and the issue was the way the lines work.
Exactly.
Okay,
It
so
was getting
you
very
you
messy.
you just made a go-to statement in your diagram. Is that? Do I understand
Oh,
that correctly?
damn it.
It seems like I mean that's cool. I've
Oh,
personally never used the go-to statement, but if you feel the need,
yeah. You
then
have
that's
brought
cool.
shame on my house. Yes. Yes.
The house of
Uh, I'll,
Dreamcatcher
I'll,
so easily crumbled. Um,
I'll find a better way of doing it.
okay,
But
all right, all
yes,
right. I understand. I
users
understand.
resolved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all I care about is the level that we're talking at, the content of the level, and so far I'm thrilled with both those things. This is the perfect level to be talking at, and the content is great. I don't really care about your go-to
Yeah.
statements, whatever works.
Yeah. Cool.
My can I carry on with my test cases?
Yes, please.
We want to raise a public company to have funding to build ducks. We want to do it so that we don't distort or control the ecosystem, but instead amplify it so that that public company gains value from the profit sharing of the stucks that it has solved. Where does that entity go?
Well, interesting enough, there's a choice. So you see this external user level company
Yep.
is a company that just agrees to the T's and C's in the contracts, and then can contract in any way it wants um, on the Dreamcatcher or on another thing. There's a second way, which I prefer actually, is we raised for the Dreamcatcher company here, which is the one that's running all
Oh,
this.
hold on. Okay. Okay. Hold on. For argument's sake, I like to call this how I imagine our personal entity looks like. I just call that Robot Army for lack of a better name,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
it's
That sounds
basically
well.
nothing to do with the Dreamcatcher, the gateway, the
Yeah,
JSON platform, anything. It's
yeah,
us, and
exactly.
we're trying to make a buck in
Yeah,
the cruel world,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, and then we're right now
That's Robot Army. Yeah.
Robot Army, right now. What the fuck has that got to do? Sorry, what the fluff has that got to do with Dreamcatcher Company? Why is
Um,
isn't Dreamcatcher Company just another external user level company?
it's sort of, and this is quite an interesting question. This Dreamcatcher company is a provider of a host as opposed to
Right, but any number of entities could do that, right?
right. Yeah,
Because
which is
it's a protocol, not an instance.
yeah. So any other Dreamcatcher type company with a host setup, extend as many as you want. This is all one,
Yeah,
which is why I use teal. That's one instance of
teal means
this.
one. Okay,
Yeah, as
okay,
many as you want of that.
okay.
Now, you're asking what do we raise on? Now, we could raise on a type of this that contracts to this non-profit and
Sorry, a
does
type
all
of
this
this.
good
Can you
stuff.
move the arrow? I missed where the
Oh,
pointer
sorry.
was.
So this is basically a hosting company that wants to go through all the pain that we've diagrammed here.
A
With
hosting
the
company.
gateway.
So, like you're saying, we could raise to provide a host that is in the business of selling infrastructure services with
Yep.
guarantees like HIPAA compliance, SOC. Basically, it's like a certified data processor, and we're saying that that is what we might want to raise money for, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how then can we say that we have let's start that entity, right? Just for argument's sake, we're
Hmm.
starting a certified host. It's going to be a good, clean host that has good reputation and has persons of upstanding character in charge of the
Right. And
duties
that
of.
just so I know where you're going, that involves all this goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so you can run the Dreamcatcher that runs in some guy's garage, or you can run it in the one that runs in a bunker in Switzerland,
Yeah.
or whatever,
And
right?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
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 And so I would not personally want to raise money to go into that company. I would want to raise money that goes into a company that participated in that company. Like, because if you raise
Hmm.
for that company specifically, you can't, that's not building any of the other stuff of the Dreamcatcher. You're not free to choose whatever makes the most economic sense, or you're not free to choose a broader thesis of what you're going to pursue. You're stuck with, I'm going to do hosting.
Well, the hosting with attribution and all that kind of goodness. Yeah. I see what you're saying, though. The only other entity that you could raise for, I think, is we're getting into kind of centralized danger if we race for the gateway. The
No,
gateway.
yeah, definitely not. The gateway is out of bounds. The gateway is like, is never going to be raised for. Like, that's not meant to be a
Yeah.
profit taking entity. It's supposed to be a break even entity.
Yeah. So, Sam, sorry, say again why there'd be concern that we are raising for a company that runs a host that allows users through this
It's
gateway
too narrow.
contract.
It's too narrow because we want to raise for a company that grows the Dreamcatcher network. That means that it would, part of its remit would be to build a good solid hosting service. Part of its remit would be to build some apps of various kinds. It would be to foster relationships with high level partners like maybe OpenAI, maybe Dino themselves, other things like that. And so that player is like a super person in the ecosystem that has like a bag of cash and a bunch of skills, and it goes around with the only real motive being maximum stuck value.
I agree. Um, and everything you've just said is raised for the Dreamcatcher because the Dreamcatcher being a host that provides a platform that ultimately attracts users that use and pay, and you get all that good kind of revenue stuff. Is exactly what you said. There's nothing stopping Dreamcatcher doing anything except we have to comply with the gateway company's standard.
Uh, yes and no. We can
Mm-hmm.
we. I'm saying that we would, but I just want to make the point that there can be other gateway companies that enter this network with their own sets of rules and their own owners. The gateway company is in no. There's no privileged entity here. That's the rule.
Right. Okay. So that comes in with like who wants a standard? It's like you've got 10 standards. So the first thing you do is write the 11th standard.
Yeah,
Um,
the standard is simply enforced by the fact that we use it. It has
yeah.
no power. It's an open source thing. You can modify it. No worries.
Right. So the standard is simply an assertion, a statement. This is the standard. Um, that is controlled by the gateway. Um, uh, you could even fork the standard and change the standard if you
Wait,
want.
no, I don't feel like you're answering my question.
Okay, state it again, please.
It feels like you're still promoting raising for the hosting company.
Yes, I am actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm saying no, that's a
Okay.
bad idea, but I don't want to fight with you on it. I don't think it matters
Uh,
for the sake of this diagram, right? That's a
all right.
decision that we can make at a later date.
All right.
Um, okay,
Well, at the moment,
so
there's only two raisable things. There's only two entities here that do anything: Gateway and Dreamcatcher. Uh,
my discomfort with this diagram, and
mm-hmm.
I have a lot of comfort with it. Don't get me wrong, right? But the
Okay.
purpose is
Yeah,
to
no,
get
let's
it
go.
perfect.
Hey, man, I don't need verbal cuddling. Don't worry about it.
Everyone does, buddy. Don't
I don't.
don't.
No, I don't.
So my
uh,
issue is that the Dreamcatcher company should be not there. It adds nothing to the diagram,
uh huh.
um, and all of the arrows that are contracts with
Yep.
should be pointing to the gateway company because the gateway company is the thing that is holds the contracts. Like,
Yeah, but that I'm looking at Gateway Company uh, as as lean as possible. Basically governance.
no, gateway company. And
Sorry.
I
Go on.
need you. I need you to actually be honest. If we are disagreeing here and we got a different
Mm,
view on it, I don't want to hear. Oh, it sounds close because it doesn't sound
yeah,
close.
yeah,
Gateway company is there so that any member, be they a person or a company, can come into gateway company and can start a new venture with almost no overhead. It should be like $5 worth of fees or something like that. And suddenly you've got a slice of the gateway company where you can enter into contractual arrangements with any other legal entity or
yep,
individual. And your obligation is to stick to the Dreamcatcher rules,
yep.
and you can contract with anyone you like, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's
So
yeah.
what's your issue with using that entity to contract with Deno to supply the initial hosting environment?
Oh, yeah, we could do that because
Yeah, we
it
could do
would be.
that because that's how it's designed. But why have you stuck Dreamcatcher Company out on its side like a third bollock?
You know what I said about verbal cuddling? Maybe I should try that.
I just
Um,
does it not look out of place to you? I
it
mean,
sort of does now we point it. Basically, okay. So if we if we're going to go up one step, Gateway Company provides a marketplace of people who have all agreed and contracted with one thing, Gateway Company, and therefore can create JVs or anything they want usage because everyone's got the contract. You've
right.
usually
And
got one
Gateway
contract.
Gateway Company can also be used to create a subsidiary company that can is the equivalent of saying, okay, I need a bare metal server. And gateway companies' rules might push you that way if we're like, your risk to us is too great, or your size is so large that we need you to run on your own server now, please.
Oh, that's an interesting. That's a different question. Let me think about that.
Take your time,
Okay.
buddy. No rush.
Yeah. So the gateway company, I think, should be above reproach. And by above reproach, I mean should have no incentive towards any particular direction. Shouldn't have an incentive
Yep.
towards Deno or anything else.
Yep.
Um, that implies that the governance of this, which maybe we do it by voting on usage or whatever. There's various ways we could do it. The governance of that uh, dictates the formats and the agreements and so on. So this is the marketplace. Now, what you're saying there was why
It's not
don't
a
we?
marketplace.
Well, no, it's marketplace is probably the wrong word. It's a debabbilizer. It's an easy way for an
No, that's
individual
it's not a
to
debabbilizer.
contract
Let's
with.
pick a nice name for that. I feel the name is close.
Uh huh.
It's almost like the picture I have is a rack, and I have servers in my mind and virtual machines running on it of varying sizes and maturity. Some VMs are very lightweight, like a Lambda function. Some
Mm-hmm.
are a little longer running, like an EC2 instance. Some are very large.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
not it's not the
that's a good.
market,
That's a
it's
good
not the
example.
marketplace. It's almost like it's the entry point. It's like where you know when you have those high stakes poker games and everyone has to leave their guns at a certain place and you got to like sign in, so to speak. That's
Yeah.
the gateway. It gets you
Yeah.
into
It's
the
yeah,
marketplace. The
yeah. I think
marketplace
you're
is
on,
happening
and
inside the
this
Dreamcatcher.
and I think this follows from your comment, which I actually agree. Deno, or sorry, Gateway Company is the one that holds the contract with Deno. It could also hold the contract with AWS. It could also hold the
Yeah,
contract with my
yeah,
mum's server rack in
right. But
Dell.
we could also start up our own company independently, and the gateway, could choose to use it, but it just doesn't feel right to do that. Like the
Yeah,
initial
yeah.
setup feels like we should just set up the gateway and just use it to run the host as well because, you know, who cares?
It does
Sorry, not who cares. It's
until we try and raise. There's nothing special, particularly about Dreamcatcher Company, because Dreamcatcher. Well, okay, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Assuming I rewire this, so all the services go through Gateway,
Yep.
and
Can we do
all the
that now? Can
services.
we do that now? Because it's and delete
Yeah, yeah.
Dreamcatcher Company.
Hold on a second. Uh,
I might be
right.
able to do it. Oh, you do
Oh, you
not
go.
want.
Yeah, you do it, because
Can I? Can
I'm
I?
a bit shit in VR and doing this sort of thing.
Oh, aren't we all,
Um,
buddy?
mhm. Right. So that contracts with goes there.
Oh,
Uh,
look at us with our team editing.
hey. Uh, and JSR also needs a contracts with.
I
Yep,
got
that's
that. I
the
moved that.
one.
Yeah, I moved that.
Yep.
And delete
And
that, and
external
I'll delete
APIs.
external APIs contracts with that goes up to the gateway company.
Yep.
There we go.
So,
There, we just performed a reverse vasectomy on the third bollock,
right.
and now it's gone.
Now,
Right?
no.
Ah, okay.
Uh, yeah,
Now what?
one step too far. You need. Oh, fuck.
Why?
Shit.
Wait,
Uh,
wait.
my
What you
laptop
doing?
just fell off the table.
Wait, what you doing? Where you going?
Thanks.
How far did you go?
As soon as I get any money, I'm getting a new laptop because this thing is fucking old and shite. Um,
Mate, we're trying to
right.
delete this thing. What are you doing?
Right. No. Um, Dreamcatcher Company is like any other provider. So,
So why is it there?
Gateway. Gateway is no different. Shit. Sorry, I shouldn't swear.
You shouldn't swear.
Right. The all this is orchestrated uh, and developed by a thing that could be raised against. If someone wants to do something else,
Yeah.
this other teal thing. This is the legal company that runs all
All right.
this
So let me make an edit
license.
then that will make me happy.
Uh huh.
What about that?
External user level companies. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, then it would. You can delete this because that's just.
Wait. Any other? Oh, well, that what with a host setup? Why did you add with a host setup?
Um, because there seems to be something different. Actually, no.
What
If I
does it matter?
reflect on it, it doesn't matter, does it?
Okay,
No, it's
so
not.
why don't we wait.
Ah! It doesn't matter actually what you do. You are
So I'll
a
make that
company.
teal because you're trying to use teal as an interface, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the interface is that it's an external user level company
Yep.
as opposed to a gateway level company.
of which there's only
right?
one,
Yeah.
unless you
Well,
want to
no,
fork
there's
it and do your
multiple
own
gateway
thing.
companies, but the point is that the gateway company lets you into the Dreamcatcher and make sure that you come in with some standard rules around you. Like you've already signed up to the policies of it. You've already, you've
Yes,
done different
yes,
things, right? All right. So, and that means I can delete this now.
yes. Now, I would also like to add another thing,
Uh
which
oh. It should cost you push
which
ups to add
is
things. Ah, did it come back? Come on.
snooze. Uh, my keyboard is full of dust.
Another gateway company. Okay, let's ditch that whole concept
Yeah, but that's what you're
because
saying.
yeah, that is what I'm saying. Yeah, you
Yeah.
could have that. Those are addendums, I suppose. To, like it doesn't. Yes, someone else could make it, but we don't care. Like
Oh,
we
well,
just
there's like there's tiers here, isn't there? Someone could fork the entire thing. So the reason I was putting that in there is another gateway company, if it agreed with the standards of this gateway company,
they're not
um,
compatible.
then they're compatible
Yeah, but
and
then like, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and very quickly, I imagine we'll have a similar situation where we'll have the UK gateway, and then we'll have the Delaware gateway,
And
and
yeah,
then
always
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
it's
It
like
becomes simpler because it's
the
actually at
yeah.
that point the interface is a legal interface. It's like
Well, it's not at that point. I'm sorry to sound like I'm being difficult, but the actual core concept of the gateway company is a
mhm,
gateway between the legal jurisdictions of a localized area like the
mhm.
UK
Yeah.
and the information centric, boundaryless, weightless protocol of the Dreamcatcher. That is the purpose of the gateway.
Oh, right. So is there one gateway to rule them all?
No, no, it's just that there's one gateway per jurisdiction and preference.
Yeah,
Like
but I agree with I like that a lot, and in fact, I think that's actually necessary. However, there does need to be some governance around the standards.
no, man, you keep trying to. I sense from you continually trying to take control of key parts of the system. That is opposite to decentralized system engineering. We are trying to make a business model that fits in with the decentralized nature of the software we're producing, and control is not something we have. You don't get to control that core standard.
Okay, so
You also,
if
sorry,
someone came and just changed the JSON core standard like
yep,
you worked on, and
yep,
it's just like totally fucked it up.
yep,
Um, that's not that's not standard anymore. You're no longer, you
yeah.
know.
But think about, well, let me ask it another way: is the
Mhm.
Linux kernel standard?
Oh no, it forks like a very forky thing. Sorry,
It's pretty forked
analogies there.
up, right? And yet
Yeah.
you would call that, given that the most expensive and secure digital operations in the known universe take place using that kernel, does it seem a little different
Yeah, I
between
see where
your
you're
two,
getting. Yeah, okay.
right?
So how would you? Yeah, no,
Okay,
I
so
agree with
well,
that. I agree with that.
let's focus on how is the Linux kernel safe, okay? Because the
Mhm.
Linux kernel is safe because
It sounded like an awkward silence when you're trying. It is safe. Or are you just typing? Oh, you've got
this
show and tell.
guy.
I can't see anything. Do you want to control the screen or?
Thank you for being so polite. This guy right here. This is why the Linux kernel is safe.
All right.
Because,
Yeah, 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 yeah. He's a good man.
yeah, now the Linux
He
kernel,
was
you can
getting out and
fork it. You can
doing what it
fork it
was.
to your heart's content, and people do, right? But
Mm-hmm.
he publishes his version. He doesn't own the kernel. He just publishes his version, and by industry preference, everyone chooses to follow his GPG signature. And
Right.
that's the same way that we will control, in big fat inverted commas, the JSON standard.
Okay. So, right. Uh, just because, well, basically, he's thought. So Linus has thought about this more than anyone else, and he's like deep in the weeds.
Well,
Got all the
maybe not.
contracts.
I honestly think a lot of his privileged position, he just kind of ended up there because he was just doing what he wanted to do, and what he stumbled upon was some natural laws of the universe of collaboration, which is that if you let everyone do what they want, they still end up following you.
If you're, um,
If you're genuinely the
if you
best.
have merit, if you have merit,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. That's right. So rather than coercing control, he 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 is the one that he releases. The kernel is called Linus's kernel because it's his branch that everyone who's anyone follows. That guy, that one guy.
I love this guy. Okay, so how does that reflect back on this diagram? Because
It means that you gotta stop trying to. You need to get rid of this for one,
well, go ahead and do it. Yeah, this is right.
and when you
Okay, right.
say
So where
comply
does?
with, I'm not sure it really
Yeah, no. Now you say it's that's in the wrong place,
naps.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost this is one level below. This is what naps are like.
Yeah, but the thing is, if someone else used a different JSON standard, say in a, if they forked, with
If they modified it in a way that was incompatible with the Dreamcatcher, then it's incompatible. I mean, so what? Like
yeah,
the thing that bothers me about your line of thinking that makes me suspect there's some wrinkles in there that we need to get to is that you are always going on about what happens if someone forks or alters the standard as though it would bother you that someone made a
well,
change.
that's a great point, and I guess it comes down to your point of 20 odd minutes ago, which was where do we raise funding for? Now we've got a mechanism here, if it works, that effectively can monetize open source.
That's the whole point, right? That's really the
Yeah,
magic of the
um,
Dreamcatcher is
but
monetizing open source.
the difficulty is what do we raise for, and which is why I was saying the Dreamcatcher as the teal blob is the thing to raise for. Um, okay, so it does have a privileged position because, well, we've been here for,
It's not privileged. It's
well,
just
it's
simply the first. That's not a privilege.
okay, right. We are in primary position uh, because uh, you designed the JSON format. All we're interested in is interoperability and whether the Dreamcatcher works internally. And we've got a gateway which holds all the contracts, which allows the wealth of the talent of the world to come in. So it's great. Everyone come in.
Right.
There's no barriers to it.
Being
The
first
second
is
last
not
gets the tunes.
necessarily the like
That's
we are
excellent.
not in a privileged position. You might actually
Very
say
funny.
we're more likely in a disadvantaged position because
Mm-hmm.
we're first and we're the only ones. And that I count as a weakness, not a strength. You
Okay,
keep
so
trying to you say the word privileged and imply privileged positions in all the things you do much more than I do.
no,
You
that's true. However, I am pretty libertarian when it comes to this sort of thing.
you want to
But
be,
practically
you want to
speaking,
be, but
I do, I really do. But practically speaking, um, that JSON core standard then, um, what just floats out there?
nah, that's part of naps. That's what naps are. That's one level lower.
So
It's not a thing at this level.
so where would you stick that?
I would stuff that. at one level down, if you drilled into and exploded what naps actually means,
Mm-hmm.
that's where the JSON core standard goes.
Okay, all right. So a NAP is defined as something that
From our point of view, from our
complies with this
perspective,
standard that
yeah,
we've
from our
published
point
and
of
everyone knows.
view, the Dreamcatcher is defined as a set of naps that are running on a naps platform that executes the JSON core standard that
Right.
we choose to follow. And you can fork it because it's open, like just like over here we got Ethereum, and Ethereum's got you
Mice.
know, it's LGPL, right? Yeah, but it's an LGPL thing, right? So you can fork Ethereum and you can make any damn change you like, right? And
Yeah.
and what I feel like I need to keep sort of poking at this with you because you are a control systems guy, and it's counterintuitive how decentralized systems exercise control. And
Yeah, I
for
think that's fair. I think
yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so for example, when so first of all, you could fork Ethereum under the LGPL license and you could do whatever you like. Doesn't mean that you're going to make another blockchain. There are actually plenty of forks of Ethereum that are trying to get off the ground that are worth XYZ, whatever.
Yeah.
None of them really, it ain't Ethereum. I don't want to trade in that, right? And so, an interesting point that illustrates how this new form of control happens in a decentralized system is that when these guys make a new commit to modify the core of Ethereum, what they do is they put out a patch or an upgrade, and it only becomes part of the Ethereum network if enough of the participants choose to upgrade the version that they're running.
Um. Uh. Well, there is no. Yes. That's a very interesting point. I think. Well, this is really interesting.
Yeah, I'm
Um.
trying to show you. I'm trying to show you what
Yeah.
control looks like in this system because I'm at the moment liberally making changes to the JSON format, right? That
Yeah.
can't go on for very much longer. In fact, even when I make changes, you're like, "Oh, well, hang on a minute,"
Well,
So like
yeah.
already, there's a little bit of a
Yeah.
solidifying force there. But as soon as it starts to become even mildly popular, and I make a change that doesn't make sense to the free and willing participants on the network, they're just not going to accept the patch. And so the control thing, I'm not in control. We are all collectively trying to increment from where we are to better. And that's what the control is. It's not, you can't make it go somewhere horrible because everyone will just tell you to go fuck off.
Yeah.
Sorry, go flop. God, it's really hard not to swear.
No, it's because I swear all the time.
Yes, it's
Or
mostly your
swear,
fault, like a
swear.
lot of
Yeah.
things, actually. But but the the point is that like I have to keep it keeps me honest because I have to keep trying to improve that standard for the benefit of all. Otherwise, they will reject the upgrades, and
Right.
that's what keeps the core standard in place. It's consensus. It's
And
shared agreement.
the inverse of reject is actually use.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. That's right.
right.
And
And
so
then
that's what keeps the standard alive. And if someone forks, the I feel like the mental model you have of someone making a fork is that it's an attack in some way. But first of all, they've got to gather users and acceptance and all that. And second of all, if they made a genuinely beneficial change, we'll just merge it. Problem solved.
so the so the for the diagram version, so the JSON format sits outside of this.
It's inside the nap circle, but it's not on this level. It's when you
Um,
zoom into how naps work.
but it's yeah, sure, but what you're doing is advertising, we're using this version of the core
Yeah.
format.
Yeah.
And if you're also using something that doesn't fuck with it,
Yeah.
then
We're
we're happy.
compatible. Well, we're compatible. Yeah. Right.
Right.
Happy days.
And in terms of the gateway company,
Yeah.
with all these contracts,
Yeah.
if someone else wants to do that, this diagram could get quite complex. I'll probably not actually go to that complexity because conceptually it works. You could have uh, a separate gateway company completely to this diagram that does it somewhat differently.
Yep.
Maybe it's, the chirality is left or right,
Yep.
whatever, who
Yep.
cares? Um, and they have their own JSON format. We could choose to bring in their merges and be compatible.
Yeah.
If we choose not to, then we're not
Yeah.
compatible.
That's right.
Okay. Diagramming this could be quite interesting. I might just make a blob.
No, you don't. Well, I can just delete this, right? Because this doesn't belong here.
No, I think you're right though, in that it's a drill down.
It's a drill down thing,
the
which we don't need to diagram because that just starts to get into technical diagrams, which can come later. So I can delete this?
I think you can, yeah.
Yeah. I want to note also that the gateway company is held to account by the same process that the JSON standard format is held, which is basically adoption. And it's like if the gateway company imposes some rules that are seen to be not of benefit to the community, then the community members will cancel their contracts or their relationship with that company and will move to the new community-centric version of the gateway company. So there's actually a lot of force. There's a lot of force that keeps that gateway company honest. We only have to start it on the right path and then layer up users who will force it to be a certain way.
Essentially, that's Smithsonian, economics.
Yeah, so we're looking for even though traditional stability and traditional control doesn't apply, this new age of control, we need to actually bank on it, because that's what, if you're genuinely looking for the absolute most honest, efficient, highest performing, most innovative thing, you're all gonna arrive at the same place. And that's the essence of the control structure of the Dreamcatcher. It's honestly trying to be the best thing for everyone. That's what keeps it in line.
I agree. And if you, I think you have control of the screen. If you go to the right, Dreamcatcher company. So the question is, what's the raisable thing?
Can I rename this as Robot Army just to make sure it's distinct from anything Dreamcatcher related?
Good. Good. Let's henceforth call this, because we have a namespace clash once again. Right. Okay. So, Robot Army is an external company level user that contracts with the gateway and therefore can use all the Dreamcatcher niceness.
Yep.
Now, Robot Army could also be compatible with the left-hand chirality version of this.
What's the left? What do you mean when you say chirality?
By chirality, it's like proteins.
Yeah, like which way they twist, which way they turn. But how does that? What's that got to do with this diagram? Where's the non-rotational freedom?
My statement is that Robot Army, if it agreed to the rules of a completely different gateway and contracted with a different gateway, then we've got transfers of naps.
What? I don't understand that. The naps. So the Robot Army company is trying to build open source naps. It's not trying to build closed source naps. I think we should be pretty clear that that's what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, but the robot army contracts through for the use of the naps, not for the construction of the naps. The construction of the naps
What?
are inside of Dreamcatcher itself. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but it's the robot army is contracting, is acting as a funder through the gateway, but it's also acting as a trader. Like I don't think that's in the diagram, which is where there's the purchasing of contributions and funding that has been done. Like, what's that? Are you just a trader? Then is that the other entity?
That's an interesting one. I've got funder, which is I want this thing done,
Funder puts
but
money in
my
to get a thing
trader
back.
is now we're going into the NFT world. No, I haven't actually.
No, no, I don't think
That's a
it's the
good point.
NFT world at all. It's just simply saying that if you're providing profit share to the people that contributed, where contribution can be labor or talent, as the new age term is, and capital, as in a funder, then you also need the trader actor, which is
Oh, I see what you're saying.
like it's
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 like
a it's a
the
natural
platform.
progression of it.
It's the yeah, it's the broker that makes the thing happen. I
No,
guess.
it's the person who comes along and does a swapsy for some contribution that's already been made.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's someone who doesn't have is Mr. 10%, right? Person A wants to do something with person B, uh, and you make it happen, and you get a cut.
Nope. Again, no.
Hmm. Sorry, I'm trying to follow your stream of thought
Okay.
then. So,
Let
what
me
do you
let
mean
me
by
let me.
trading then?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a funder. I put up $1,000 to have this prompt modified. The prompt is
Mm-hmm.
modified. I'm happy. The
Yeah,
prompt then goes on to be used by a million other people, which
yeah,
earns me a continual stream of royalties that the host, the Dreamcatcher hosting environment, is paying every time a consumer consumes the use of this prompt.
yeah,
Right? We're all good so far, right? That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much the classical fairy tale of the Dreamcatcher.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
which I should turn into a children's storybook, I think. Right?
I've got a thing to say at the end of this
Yeah. Okay.
conversation as well.
Anyway,
It's
so
yeah,
that's
continue.
the base scene.
Yeah.
Then someone else comes along and they see this guy with his receiving this profit share stream, and he says, "Hey, buddy, you want to sell me a portion of that for 50 grand?"
So this is what's the right term? It's like aftermarket, and it's not
Yeah,
aftermarket.
the
It's
secondary market. It's the secondary market
secondary market.
of
Yeah,
contribution, which is why, like, I think, and I'm sorry to insert this out of order comment, but I think that user contributor should be changed to either talent or it should be changed to talent
yeah,
because
yeah. Go,
funders
go,
are
do it now. Do it now. Yeah, yeah. Go for it. Because your cursor's already on
curse you.
it. Yeah.
And right, so there's the funder puts in capital, which
Mm-hmm.
is stored talent or time shifted talent, and then talent puts in the stuff, talent,
Yeah.
actual,
Yeah.
right,
Doing
and
stuff.
then there's another one that's in is it D for duplicate? Yay! I got a hotkey right. Look at me. I don't know where the fuck it goes.
I
It
wish.
goes
I wish I keep on thinking I should spend more time learning hotkeys.
user talent, user trader. You're telling a story with the colors, so I'll leave that to you. But
Yeah.
basically, that's saying I think you can actually draw a weak a circle, or you could cut these two into a group. Right. This is the build side of the Dreamcatcher, and this is the consume side of the Dreamcatcher,
Yeah, actually, we
right? And
could.
that the there's two forms of consuming. There's actual consuming and theoretical consuming. So
Yeah,
promising to
yeah.
consume, right? And that's demand.
Or just having an idea, saying, "Hey, I'd like this,"
Well, no, that's a form of talent.
well,
Oh, saying I just would like that. Yeah,
yeah,
that is a future. That is a thing you want in the future. You're like, I want this thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Um. Then this other side is the contribution side, or the build side, where I think calling it build is the best word of all the words I know to describe it. Where these guys interact and coordinate to build things for the consume side,
yeah.
right?
I'm with you. Yep.
And yeah, and trader is an important role because that allows the secondary market to exist.
The secondary market doesn't actually produce or build anything,
But it
but it does
incentivizes building. Well,
incentivize.
because
Yeah, yeah,
funder doesn't build either, right? Funder incentivizes, and trader incentivizes because trader
yeah.
lets you
Because you got an
sell the
asset.
future. Well, you can
Yeah, yeah,
sell the future, right? Because you're likely, if you're earning a good royalty stream from the funder, being able to cash out early and sell like the next 5 years worth of royalty streams to the trader is a good
but
deal.
there's I think you're onto something here because yeah, that bifurcation I think works because there's a distinct difference between turning up, trying to use something, can't do it, generator is stuck. Blah. Okay, so that's kind of one cycle. And then there is, right, how many people have got stuck trying to do this? Hey, I'm going to escrow that and I'm going to hold something uh, uh, against escrow. And talented guy turns up,
Yep.
builds it, solves lots of people's problems.
Yep.
The secondary market is an incentive to the person who ends up holding that uh, um, the rights to the attribution.
Yeah. Additionally, consumption can earn you attribution, as can demanding. And so the trader can actually trade with any of these four primary
Yeah,
participants.
yeah. Consumption does generate kind of secondary data about
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
utility,
Yeah, that's right.
which is a contribution,
Yeah.
um, and demander is more direct.
Yep.
Um, yeah. At the end of this call, I'll tell you the thing, which is really quite fascinating. But yes, okay, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we the move the JSON standard to something that we just advertised. Dreamcatcher is using this JSON standard. Anyone else want to be compatible with us? Cool. We're using this gateway company. If you want to use Dreamcatcher, come through this gateway company.
Yep.
Now, do we add or do we care right now? This might be one level too deep. Do we care if someone else forks this entire thing, creates their own gateway company, and says, "Hey guys, do you want to like link up?" Because we're on the same main branch of JSON for the naps. You've
That's
got a
great.
library of these naps. You got a library of these naps. Uh,
That's
it
great.
seems like it's a gateway company level kind of. Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Um, I think what you mean is that there would be some sort of a price point set for the exchange.
Sort of. It's
Yeah,
more of a
but
T's and
that's
C's. It doesn't have to be price. It's like,
nah. That's the point of the Dreamcatcher is like it's software governed rules, and so you don't really get to if you want to make a set of rules that are incompatible, then that's a second Dreamcatcher, and that's fine. But I don't. I do get frustrated with considering, like, why is it so important that you always consider a fork? Like, why is that always an example you use?
Because I'm a libertarian who believes in if we had
What's a
someone else
libertarian?
thinking, well, in this situation, we've come up with one instance of how to do all this, and if someone else comes up with a better version, we should talk and we should be compatible. But by compatible, um, the NAP is the thing, isn't it? Um, Duplicating work. We've got all this.
Mate, you're not. I don't. Are you trying to answer my question, or
Yes,
what are you
yes,
doing?
yes, yes,
Well,
I
why
am.
is it
Yes, I
so?
am.
Why does it feel
Well,
like you
you
wandered
never
off
let
down
me
the?
finish my questions.
Well, because I'd fucking
Because
die. I'd run out of breath, and I'd be like, "Oh God,
right,
it's
if someone
2055,
forked
and the
in this
answer."
entire thing and changed loads of it, except for it was also uh, using the same JSON standard, it would have a bunch of naps. We would have a bunch of naps. Let's make lovely baby naps together.
Why do you
Um,
care about that scenario?
because that really that kind of opens it up,
Opens it
um,
up.
as in it's the maximum deduplication.
So you're saying that if so, you never tell me why someone would fork it. Why would someone fork it?
I don't know. Maybe they don't have enough to
I
do in
don't
their
think
life
you
and they
have a
don't like
strong
golf.
reason for a fork even occurring. So
Yeah, but
I
why
think
did
that
anyone fork the Linux core? And
they
the,
fork it because they want to contribute to it.
yeah, okay, but we've got how many distros? Large number.
They all use the same Linux kernel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, the point being, you got all these distros; they are largely compatible. Um, uh, Someone writes an application at a user level, which is basically an app, on one distro is usable on another one. But because of the way we're trying to make this actually useful, we've got testing and discovery in there.
Nah, man, you just jumped concepts. What's the point that you were making by saying that if you've got multiple distros and you can write an app that can run on all of them? What is the point of that argument
The
of that?
point, the point being is if we build a wall around this and saying you don't get in, your NAP does not get in this unless you've written it on this, then we're going to miss out on anyone else who wants to do another distro or another version or whatever.
Yeah, but that dude,
Unless there's some gateway.
that's built into the whole heart of it. You don't need to even entertain that. We couldn't possibly make the system more open and compatible even if we tried. What is the point of that? I'm trying to understand why that is such a common scenario that you're interested in.
What I'm trying to do is NAPs as Lego pieces are really valuable. Deduplication is something that, for example, Linux has not been very good at. Um, uh, if we manage to get some kind of gateway to gateway, even doesn't need to be legal, doesn't need to be a standard, or it could even be AI driven, saying, can this NAP run on a completely different system, which is roughly the same, be run on this one? Then we should be able to discover that and put it into a jitter.
But what's the the point? Like, why do you keep saying that scenario? Like, yes, that's true. Why is it so important to you that it comes up every time we talk about the ecosystem?
It's because I don't like closed ecosystems, I guess.
Okay, but
Um,
how can we capture that once and for all? Because you're always the thing is you say fork it, but it is like a lot of things, and so I think what the essence that you're trying to say is that if you put in effort to make a nap or the finished product of this platform is a nap, that is made to be fit for a specific purpose, a narrow purpose, where the platform is general. And you're saying that even if someone makes a competitor that's not compatible, say they have a different set of attribution rules or something, the
Hmm.
NAP should still be able to be consumed by both platforms, right?
Yeah,
That's what you.
precisely.
Okay, but you're not happy with how we're going with that so far?
It seems that right now, well, other than copying and pasting your NAP into Dreamcatcher, um, the discovery piece and actually using it in a jitter is going to be really clunky. It's like, yeah, sure, we've developed a wheel. Oh, you've developed a wheel that that's great.
No, I'm not. I'm
You
not.
can't come over until you actually use your wheel inside of our system.
I'm missing the point again. I feel like I'm getting close to it, but I keep missing it. I don't.
It might not be worth the effort, but
Well,
my
it comes
ideal.
up
Yeah, yeah, no,
every
no,
single time we talk about ecosystem. You're like, so if someone makes another one, and I'm like, why?
the
Why
reason
are we
the
always talking about that? What is the benefit?
it's because I'm quite passionate on this point. Is this
Well,
I'm
can
not
you
going
make the
to.
point? Like, rather than
I can. Oh no, no. I can. Yes, I can make the point. Kind of make the point uh, in few words.
yeah, that's sorry.
Possibly
I
not.
should have said that.
Possibly
Can
not.
you make the point in a sentence?
Right. Um,
A business rule.
anyone's anyone solving a problem using something that is compatible in a NAP format, regardless of where they make it, should be discoverable and usable on any other system like this. Because we are
Okay.
wasting too much time and too much talent reinventing wheels.
Yeah. The Dreamcatcher is meant to have a broad awareness of the wider world. Any other Dreamcatcher like system will be aware of all the other Dreamcatcher like systems. They will know about the commonalities between these different silos that are sort of compatible but not fully. My dream for the future that we're seeding here is that through the use of AI, those distinctions between the platforms will finally be removed. And so that even if you make a fork, because of the fact that it's AI that's mushing the naps together to create the jitters, it will keep on reforming as a single thing. No matter how many times you fork it, it'll just keep coming back as one because the AIs will be like, that's the same as that. I'm just going to use that. Here we go. It's not there are many subtle differences in the system design that bake your desire for compatibility, absolute universal compatibility, deeply in there. And those pieces don't get enough attention, I think. One such feature is the fact that a nap is not a nap just because you said it was. A nap is a nap because an AI said that it is sufficiently different to be of use. And the idea is that there will be these AI curators that will squash the living daylights out of people trying to be different for different sake, right? We are going to make the equivalent of a paperclip maker for naps. Its only job is to deduplicate naps and make this gray goo of naps where the only difference between them is genuine utility.
Good.
Okay. Now, can we,
Good.
because it really complicates things to talk about forking the whole thing, right? Like it doubles the amount of RAM I have to use and then adds on some
Yeah.
extra bits
But
because
what you
now
what you
they
just
have to.
said, you just hit the nail on the head.
Okay,
It's
good.
like,
So let's
yeah.
leave the nail in the coffin
Okay.
and then,
It's not a
okay.
coffin. It's fuck it. I don't know where it is. Right. Anyway, uh, what you just said was really important.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
that we'll capture that somehow in the rules of naps and what makes a nap. and that I believe should be enough to cover the loss from pointless forking or minor differences holding back broader adoption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So let's zooming in. So we've got the let's move the JSON format inside of Naps.
Yeah.
Uh, well, actually, we don't need to. We could just imply that in somewhere else. To be honest.
You need to get off of using escrowed. It needs to be prepaid, because escrow actually is a different word. It's a legal term,
Oh. Okay.
and it
Yeah.
actually
Prepaid.
is amongst other things, it is forbidden by Stripe. And
Oh.
so
Oops.
the
All right. Okay.
the reason why I was bringing up the earlier point that the gateway company is a risk bearing entity means that in Upwork sidesteps the liability for the work being done and is simply taking a cut on making the connection between people. But
Yeah.
we want to actually take responsibility for the quality assurance of the produced work. That means that the prepayment, the funder, their relationship is with the gateway company, because the gateway company is assuring them that this is what will happen when they make their payment. And so that's why escrow needs to go.
Yes, I agree with that. And also, that is reinforced by everyone agreeing to the rules of the gateway company, saying, "Here is the AI, multi bots that will give us, a decision about whether this has been done or not. And here is, I don't want to go to appeal process, but it's all AI. And you just agree to play the game or leave. Um, and so we ensure against anyone getting really grumpy about, hey, I put $1,000 into this.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree
All
with
right.
the
So
rules,
there's a
etc.
couple of looking at this circle here. Why did you make attribution a unit on its own?
Because um, let me give you a succinct answer. Attribution is basically the core of Dreamcatcher. Otherwise, it's just Upwork with my stucks are
Yeah.
people putting up stuff. So attribution is
Yeah.
the core of it. Um, I didn't go into adding in recording of contribution and immutability of that and all that kind of thing, or the algorithm, but
Right. Yeah.
it
Right.
was so
Because
important
it's
easy to
a
get
it's
there.
a it's a concept, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the users also needs to become actors, I think, because, like you say, there's only really one other industry that's calls its customers users. Um,
As an actor
yeah.
hyphen talent. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
why not just ditch the whole user colon piece anyway? Because it doesn't
Because I was, you remember I was
using the
doing the
go to.
go to users up there, which is why it's in bright red to remind me that that's a bad thing to do. But uh, I couldn't
Is
find
that
any
your
other
bad
way.
color? Is it? Okay.
In this diagramming, I couldn't because otherwise I was getting very messy.
Yeah. Okay. Golly gosh. I mean, this looks great, actually. Like, sure, the geometry could be tidied up, but I don't really care. The actual layout is good. What happens in this teal box has probably got a lot of poking around to do, but it doesn't
Well,
really matter.
you could have another. Well, it wouldn't be a context diagram because it doesn't
Yeah, it's
involve
internal, right?
externals.
It's internal, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
but you could
reckon this is
simply
a fucking great context diagram.
have I missed anything in
Not that
terms
I'm
of
aware of,
this?
buddy.
You know, I mean, I was thinking about adding in some kind of check on geographic legalities. So like acts of
That's
parliament and
all
that
in
sort
the
of thing.
weeds
But
because it's just you can
yeah,
black box that and just say jurisdictional nuance. Okay,
yeah,
here we go.
yeah.
Based on
I chose not to do that because it's like that's basically the gateway company's job is to make sure it's actually legal. Um, well, that is its job, right? Uh,
now you were making a big thing about testing and discovery,
yeah.
but they're not here.
No, because I don't want to drill in too far and muddy up. But testing is uh, basically the process of resolving a stuck into a nap.
Oh,
And
okay. Oh, right,
discovery
right, right. Yeah,
is
right. Yeah. So that's
just
yeah,
yeah.
that's puts it in a different light. I think we need a modified word for testing there because it's like that's not just testing. That's like stage gating, sort of like it's QA testing.
Sort of, isn't it? It's
It's
proving, or it's like
yeah. It's a really good thing, but
there's a phase change there between a stuck and a
yeah,
nap.
yeah. It's you're using the word is correct, but testing can also be used in ways that don't indicate the gate like the stage gate like refinement that occurs. Testing can be happening continually. You're talking about a pass or a fail, and it gets like now it's a new stack. Like that's fundamental. Like that's heavy. Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking about um, you're talking about a stuck a stuck being solved by its proof being proven to pass as opposed to passing for arbitrary reasons, right?
yes.
It's
And there's
stuck
an
proof.
interesting
It's like solution. It's maybe proofs is a better word, like because the proof stays proved. Like you're like I
yeah,
got this stuck, and I fixed it, and you're like prove it. Okay, here's the proof. Oh right, okay, I can run that again and verify it. Right?
exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there's a very close correlation between that and discovery. So
that's
discovery
right.
is a statement. It can do this. Well,
Yeah,
prove it.
right. So the discovery is actually a search through, not through stucks, but a search through proofs that and this gets back to what I was saying about the identity of a nap. The distinction between one nap and another shouldn't be up to humans. It should be up to the proofs that that sort of assert or prove that they do a certain thing. And so the nap is like named and described by an AI that's saying this is what it's
It would
proven to do, as
you do
opposed
this,
to
and this will do that.
yeah, as opposed to this mess of like a million versions of the same damn thing in npm,
Right,
right?
right.
And that gets rid of that forkability issue that you bring up, which is like, well, there's no the AI causes this. I think Ben called it like a strange attractor, where it's like this weird, quite powerful but unconventional attraction to pull to collapse the many versions into one, like a
Yeah, strange
version
attractor
gobbler.
is actually quite an interesting way of talking
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, and so like
Yeah,
what we're trying to get at, and this is sort of why I get frustrated when we talk about forking, is not because that's an implausible scenario. It's because deep inside the Dreamcatcher and my hopes for it is this strange attractor that collapses versions and makes sure
yes,
that even if you fork it and make something close, the AI is going to scrunch it back down to what it really is and
yeah,
just squeeze
and
out
and
all the
and
bullshit,
and
all the
then
juice from it.
yeah, and then tell the truth about
The
actually
truth.
I've
Yeah.
squished this,
Yeah.
and
That's right.
discovery is
That's
truth,
right.
right?
That's
It's
right.
like
And so that's right. And so the deduplication is actually not just looking for, like, deduplication is a form of truth finding because you're saying that, in essence, mechanical deduplication up to the point before AIs was made was very much a nitpicky
Oh, it's
thing. Like,
horrible.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but deduplication in the universal plane, like an AI doing the deduplication, like if an AI ripped into the npm package registry and deduplicated it, people would be crying. Like there'd be a lot of tears, right? Right.
Hmm.
This is a good
Yeah,
thought experiment because that's
yeah,
what right now you can fork the npm registry like JSR just did, and now you're like, I have this personal problem where when I'm looking for a new piece of functionality, I have to go JSR search, npm search. Oh,
yeah,
here we go. Okay,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
And it doesn't take too much imagination to say, well, already that's a problem. And then if you add one more, now I'm really screwed, right? And
yeah,
so we're offering a universal registry that also does the dedupe and just goes squish. And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
you can
And there's
fork that,
yeah,
but the thing that we're not really able to accurately capture, and we just sort of hand wave at, is that AI stops you being wasteful. It squashes you down. There's only one
that
bloody nap.
that is the value of it because all the wasted effort of reinventing the wheel.
Yeah,
Um,
the AI stops it.
I think you've hit the nail on the head of something I've tried with
Yeah, I think that's what you've been
ambitious
getting
stuff.
at, and because
Yeah,
you got stuck in a rut where you were using the words that are technically correct, but actually you weren't getting the satisfaction out because you needed to see that there was something deeper at play that would remove wasteful duplication, and your natural go-to was control, but also some sort of solace taken in the fact that we could merge back and be compatible. But actually, your savior is the AI context
yeah,
gobbling machine that is like, if you ran the same AI, it'll give you the same answer in terms of the
exactly. And
yeah,
AI is the thing that makes this possible because you put that into a vector space. You've got two solutions that are close,
right.
and you get close enough, and then it's
Yeah,
like,
so you need some better
merge those.
words. You need some better words than discovery and deduplication. You need one more word. I think that word is uniformity.
No, yeah, yes, almost.
Almost, eh?
So it's almost like amalgamation. It's like when two like black holes like whir around each other and go. Now you're one unit, and you've got the same three metrics, um,
It's
and
like
those metrics are all true.
unification, uni, universal discovery.
Something like that, isn't it? But
All
you
right.
get
Well,
you get why I keep on banging on about those two.
do you believe that I get where you're coming from?
Yeah, yeah, no, no,
Okay. All right.
you've
And
absolutely nailed it.
nailed it,
Yeah,
right? And the issue is that you're lacking a word or a group of words to be able to say a single phrase and be like, "That's what you mean,"
yeah,
right? Okay. So
yeah,
we'll work on that and twiddle around with it. But when we can get that phrase, it'll be something like ambient attribution. Ambient attribution is a very powerful phrase, I think, because it describes a ton of concepts in one sort
yeah.
of smush,
It's
right?
also lasted a few years, and we haven't changed it, which is very
It's been
rare
around
for
about
our
4 years.
terminology,
Well, we
isn't
got Dreamcatcher, which was seeded in April of 2019,
it?
and we've got ambient attribution, which came in around about November of 2019. So those are
Yeah.
some of our oldest concepts.
Yeah, but yeah, you're. I'll not reiterate, but yes, you've
Okay.
absolutely got it.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
that
So
that
I'll think
is
more
very
about a
very
word,
powerful.
a
Yeah,
phrase for you, and then that should settle that one once and for all.
yeah, cool. Um,
Cool. Well, that feels like you got
that's
what you wanted, and I did as well.
yeah, yeah. Um,
It's hard to
uh,
find fault in this, buddy. This is pretty good. Tell me where, if I'm a consumer and I'm just
mhm.
using it, where am I paying? Is that I go through the
Right.
go-to loop?
Yeah, because you are consumer hyphen, sorry, user hyphen consumer. You're a
Yeah.
subset of user. User is contracted with the gateway. The
Right.
gateway it keeps your money. You use
Yeah.
it. you request stuff and out, and you get response stateboard stuff back,
Yeah.
and perhaps in doing that, you create a stuck, and
No,
therefore you're
stop there. My question is actually, I want to know when when someone is consuming and
yep,
they're paying down money that
yep,
they've paid into the system with a Stripe prepayment.
yep.
How does that money get back to the build side contributors? How does it get back to everyone that contributed?
So it depends on the naps that you're using and the attribution.
What? How can it? Aren't they all the same? That is a surprising statement to make.
Naps are a format, right? Um, uh, Contribution is how did that nap come from being a stuck to a nap?
Yep.
Who did it?
Yep.
Someone uses that nap,
Yep.
puts in money through a loop, and then how do we disperse it? That's
Yep.
through the attribution.
Yep.
And because the users are hyphen are all the same, if you have used that nap or developed that nap or come up with the idea of that nap, you're on the contribution table.
Yep.
The attribution algo gives you cash. There you go, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
I know that. Where's the line? Is my question, sir. That's what I'm asking. Where's the line?
Okay. Well, this is not a flow diagram, so
No,
I'll
but
give a flow.
in a context diagram, the money flows are present.
Uh,
Who's
yeah,
paying
very
who?
good. Can I? Where's my cursor? Oh,
You're
this
there.
is weird.
You're there.
This is weird. No,
It's
no, I've got.
laggy, right? It's like
Yeah,
sticky.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
lagging.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay, so
Ooh.
so your specific question is, when I consume something,
Yes.
uh, how do I pay for it,
No.
and who gets paid?
No. I know how you pay for it. It's
Okay,
what I'm looking for is how does the money make it back to the contributors in
right.
this diagram? In this diagram.
Okay, in this diagram. Okay, so oh my goodness, I'm just
You're
gonna
right. Do you want to
focus
take
on.
over the screen?
Um, oh,
Might be
yeah,
easier,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Please, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Go.
because that
Go.
lag is
Go.
in my head.
Not much for the gaming on the internet in the early days, were you?
For someone who spent 10 years of life building computer games, I don't actually like computer games. Seems a bit of a waste of your time. Building them is a useful thing. It's really fun. Playing them,
You
oh,
giant hypocrite.
I've, I've, I've built I've built computer games like at my ears. My entire 20s was spent doing that, but I never actually spent any time playing them.
Wow.
Right. So, sorry, I've lost track here.
How does the
So I
money
can.
that the consumer paid into the system that went via the Dreamcatcher host, how did that money make it back to the contributors of the
Right.
NAP?
Okay. So the contributors. Okay. I probably need a few more lines, but the contributors to that could be the fact that the consumer has used it. Yep, that's fine. That shows intent, but identifies potential stucks by its use, in which case that user is effectively a demander, saying almost uh,
No, that's
uh,
not. No, that's gone. You've gone off course there.
if a user tries to do something and user can't do it, and
No,
it's
that's not
identified
what.
they can't
That's
do
not
it.
at all what the question is. The question is, the user consumes something. It's already built. They're happy with what's happening. They've paid the Dreamcatcher host. How does the money that was paid to for the consumption make it back to the contributors?
Oh, I see what you're saying. All right, okay. So it's through this.
It's got to go through that dot, right? The attribution
Yeah,
dot.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, and anytime money goes in, then that's a payment event, and attribution distributes that through the gateway and Stripe. Um, and every wallet you've got, but it's the attribution, which I've not gone into any more detail on this one to keep it a bit more simple than it could be, but
Right.
that's the distribution thing.
So how do I? Where is should there be a line that goes from the money going into the gateway company from the user, and
Mm-hmm.
then going off to the Dreamcatcher host environment, and then splitting where it goes. Like, can I try and draw that, and then
Oh
we
yeah,
can just
please
use
do.
undo. We can just undo it
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's not
yeah. Please do. That'd be much
not
easier.
in a line.
Or do you want to take
No, it's cool.
control?
You can see my thing here, right? You can
I
see
can.
when I
Yeah,
do stuff.
yeah.
Oh, can you?
Well, it's the lag is the thing. I mean,
Well, lag. It's not
never
even
thought
existent.
500 milliseconds was so irritating.
Well, okay. So users contracts with users. Uh, uh,
Wait a second. Where are you? Okay.
okay. But how do you put how do you put the words on the thing? Oh, with the plus. Yeah. Okay. Oh no, why is it so small? What font size did you use?
I don't know. I just kept on increasing it until I could see it. 48, I think it was. Something like that.
Oh god.
I don't know font size. Who cares about font size?
Well, because you can't see it,
No,
obviously.
well,
That's
no.
why
You
you
care. You care
fucking.
about seeing it. You just increase it until you see it. But font size number,
Why am
don't
I
know.
laughing? Yeah, I'm laughing
Yeah.
because what it means is that you clearly drew all the objects far too big, and that's why you had to zoom your font size in so much. That's what happened. That's what I'm
Oh,
laughing
is
at.
that?
That's
Is
what
that why?
happened. Yeah,
Is that why
because
I
if
had to
you
go through everything
yeah,
and
yeah,
actually?
because
Ah,
you didn't start in the default zoom where everything's made to be of a comparable size. You somehow drew this massive blob, and then now you've spent the whole exercise redefining it again.
I just
That's what
assumed
I'm
it was.
laughing about.
I thought it was an infinite plane. You could just go.
It
Yeah,
is
doesn't
infinite,
matter.
but
But
like with great responsibility. Like you need to fucking you can't just
yeah, okay, my bad. I know. Yeah,
okay
okay. Fair on.
prepays uh usage. It basically prepays funds for consuming and funding. No, I'll arrange the text after we get agreement on whether or not it's
Okay. All right. Prepays funds for consumption and funding. Uh, yeah, yeah. Okay. So the user basically stokes their wallet.
and see, this is why all
Uh,
the arrowheads are microscopic, is because actually the arrowhead is supposed to be, around about that size, but you've
Man, honestly spent a day trying to do this in Mermaid, and it was shit. And so, with great reluctance, I came to a package.
you.
I
This
hate,
is good,
I hate
dude.
it.
Like I gotta
I,
say, like I'm not.
I hate using tools. It's
I know that I have noticed a thing or two. All right, so you're all right with that arrow.
yep, okay,
The all of the users
yep,
have the
yep,
capability to put money in via the payment gateway,
yep, yep,
which now sits under the control of the gateway company legally.
yep.
And then what happens is, where do I show that the hosting environment gets paid from I think it's money coming out, right? Because you got all these
Yeah.
microscopic arrows going in, and now we need an arrow coming out, right? Like the
Well,
money's got to go somewhere.
the hosting environment shouldn't do anything directly with the payment gateway. It should only go through the gateway company.
Right, but what's
So,
the point in like like the gateway company routes things around, but
yep.
that's the same as it going to, right? So let me just try and draw that diagram just for
Uh-huh.
oh crumbs. I need Here we go. An arrow has been drawn. We go there, put it there, and we'll make the micro arrow. Here we go. Massive text, massive text. Payment gateway goes to, that would be user consumption.
Yes, although what I was trying to show here was what um, that is true, but um, what you're doing is contracting there what the contracts are. The gateway company has a contract with Stripe. The gateway company
Yep.
has a contract with Host.
Right.
The user has a contract with gateway company.
Right.
Um, and so, yes, that is a contraction of what actually happens, but the flow of cash is actually through the gateway company.
No,
So,
no, it's not. It's the flow of the payment gateway. If the payment gateway is important, the payment gateway is actually inside the gateway company, right? Like, because you
mm,
know how you've got the Dreamcatcher with this,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Actually,
right?
that's a good call.
The gateway company is
Yeah,
supposed to
there's
say,
quite a
well,
lot inside of the gateway company.
yeah, but there's quite a lot inside the Dreamcatcher. And why that's
Yeah,
good, though, for this diagram is it means that you can reduce the diagram down to really just the gateway company and the Dreamcatcher if you sort of ignored all the things that were inside it. So that's
yeah,
good for simplification. But
yeah.
what it means is that if we imagine that the gateway company is actually massive and it takes up all of these entities here,
Uh-huh.
um, then the entities can connect directly to each other. So the payment gateway, like the user would be paying the hosting environment, but it would be directing the payment gateway to do the payment. So I don't know how that gets expressed.
Well, let me think about that. So the user who's consumed something that they now have a debt for
Well,
has
no, it's
an
always
agreement.
prepayment. It's always prepayment. It's not a debt.
Okay, okay.
So
So
they
the
loaded
user
up
who's
some
consumed
funds.
something
Yeah,
that they've got funds available for
yeah.
has an agreement with a gateway company that that gateway company can use those funds, like prepayment.
But it's
Um,
not the gateway company, it's the venture that's hosted by the gateway company. And so one of the ventures that's hosted by the gateway company is this host environment. And so the contractual agreement that the user signs up to is to say, I will pay this price for this activity within this hosting environment when I signal it to be so.
yeah, but shouldn't everything go through the gateway company? If we were to simplify it, two
It's already
users
in
sign
the
up.
gateway company. It's not
Yeah,
through, it's in.
yeah. So I don't understand the line user consumption because yes, it could be a dotted line to like make it easier to understand.
Yeah,
But
it's because
actually, what
it's the money
happens is
flow in the system, right? Like the user
yeah,
first of all loads up a balance within the payment gateway, and then when the user does consumption, they instruct or allow the payment gateway to pay the host environment for the consumption that they have initiated, right?
right. And the payment company gateway, let's say Stripe, Dreamcatcher host environment demands X dollars, $100. The gateway company checks. Okay, so here's your evidence, and here's your contracts, and here's Stripe. I'm now going to ask Stripe to pay you directly $100.
Oh, I got an idea. What if we
Hmm.
call it platform credits? So here, the user would pay real world dollars into the Stripe gateway, and they would get back platform credits, and then they would send platform credits to the hosting environment and a portion to the attribution node over here.
That's not a bad idea. Not entirely clear why that. What value does that add?
Well,
Only on tokens as opposed to dollars.
it is dollars, but what's important is who's the issuer of the dollars, right? So
Hmm.
here we get dollars that were issued by the Federal Reserve have come into the payment gateway, but
Hmm.
when the user spends within our ecosystem, they're spending dollars that were issued by the gateway company. It's still dollars, but it's who's backing them.
Expense issues. Oh, that's an interesting thing. Which, okay, so essentially, hmm,
So if I load up $50 on my Dreamcatcher account, I'm actually loading it with a specific gateway that I've chosen, like
yeah, yeah,
the UK version of it, blah blah blah, right? And so I load up $50 of Federal Reserve money into Stripe, and I get back $50 of platform credit,
okay.
and then from there on in, I
That
am moving.
sounds a lot like you are paying the gateway company. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. This might be the way to go. You're
Mm,
paying the gateway company $50,
yeah,
and in return you're getting 50 tokens
it's
um,
it sounds like
inside of
that,
the
but
gateway
it's not.
company.
It's not. Um, Token has the connotation that you can do anything you like with it,
Oh,
but
yeah, they
actually
call it
you can.
tubes. It's just it's a unit of worth, right?
Yeah, but it's you can only do specific things with it from there. You can withdraw it back out.
Yeah.
You can send it to the hosting. You can pay the hosting
Yep.
environment for it, and
Yep.
you can um, fund stocks with it.
I think there's a distinction here, isn't there? Funding stocks um, uh, is okay. I need this thing solved, and here's $1,000 against it. Usage is you have to pay if you've actually used it, which means the gateway company must be able to pay on your behalf from your account for certain types, but
Uh,
doesn't need to pay on
no,
your behalf.
it's that's that's an interesting detail to go into. It's actually a form of credit or debt between the gateway company ventures because of the fact that Stripe money is never cleared until about 30 days or 60 days. Like there's a
Really? It
yeah,
clears
because
this. Oh, I
no,
didn't know.
because credit card payments come with a clawback period or
Yeah, the insurance
a
thing where,
dispute period
yeah,
where
yeah,
you can be like, nah, that's I dispute that, I don't want to do it, right? A chargeback.
yeah,
And part of it, one of our rules is like, well, if people aren't happy, we don't really want to fight it. We just give them their money back, and it's like, your loss. Um, so when you like, we also don't want to be doing like a bazillion micropayments on the Stripe API, and that's why it's there's an internal representation of this currency so that we can do tiny payments and also tag the money as uncleared.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's very sensible. Yeah,
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 yeah. I get that.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Okay,
So
so how do I change that diagram then? So we're definitely cool with prepay funds go in.
yeah, um, so when a user puts prepaid funds in, they are paying the gateway company in return for tokens
Not tokens, platform credits.
or credits or um, I like credits because
Credits, yeah, because
yeah,
tokens
yeah.
mean something
Tokens
different.
have got it's got too
A
many.
bunch of stinky kind of
Yeah.
things that
So
go
you
with them.
buy when you go into the gateway company, you are buying credits. When you want to withdraw, you are asking the gateway company to uh, reduce your credit token,
Yep,
sorry, your credit level in exchange for cash, which is a Stripe, a single thing.
yep,
Um, and inside of that, because it's credits, we can do micro credit payments backwards and forwards. And here's, there's any rules that we want to put in terms of, uh, you know, I don't know, you're down to 10% of your
yeah,
credit
and like
and sort of thing.
traceability. Like where did all my money go? Oh, that's
Yeah,
right, it went on O
yeah.
one.
No, that's good. Okay, so
Uh,
the payment gateway, yes, absolutely should be inside of the gateway company,
yep,
and user prepays well, as part of the contract, I guess. Well, no, it's not quite. You contract as a user with the gateway company, and then separately, you add funds or you
yep.
buy credits,
You buy credits. Yep,
and then inside of the system is all credits, so we can do micropayments
yep.
as much as we want and not have to get suffer 3% tax on whatever it is Stripe does. And then on the transaction of coming back out, you're relying on your contract, and the contract would be, hey, if you want to get your money out, here's what you do. We go through the gateway to Stripe contract and connection, and then pay you.
Yep.
Um, right. Now, this is a real weakness I've got. I've still not really got my head around securities. There's nothing around securities there, I think.
It's not
There's,
securities. The only the trader. If we just restrict the trader, then there's no securities activities um, taking place here, so long as nobody is, so long as we are not promising returns for work that's done. So like the funder has to be participatory. They can't just be prepaying against a stuck. They need to prove that they are interested in getting the output of the stuck, not just the profit that comes from the stuck being created and used
which,
elsewhere.
yeah, which emerges, I think, again, I'm very weak on this area, but I think if everyone agrees that an AI says it's done,
Yeah, so that's
and there's
not
a process.
gonna wash immediately. So that the at launch we need to actually lock it down so that you can't actually do securities grade activities. But the purpose, or the, I guess that's the mission that we're on. I hate to use those wanky terms, but
Hmm.
the mission that we're on is to get to the stage where we have regulatory approval, either by overwhelming legal opinion being granted to us, or in the Hail Mary shot, the actual SEC gives some guidance of some sort to the industry, but don't hold your breath. Um,
Other
uh,
regulatory bodies are available. Yeah.
yeah. If we can get to the point where we are confident that we can stand up in a court of law to the SEC about the fact that an AI made these decisions, it was run in a decentralized way, and therefore the users were never subjected to the risks that unregulated securities entail.
That's
That's
going to
that's the
that's going
big
to need a judgment, or
that's
someone,
done.
yeah,
That's done.
someone needs to take a view on that in terms of a judgment,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. But that's the to me that's the Dreamcatcher built. If we can deliver that, that in the world is the biggest, most useful thing that we could ever deliver, is the ability to start a tiny project and be able to raise funding for it from outside sources and know with certainty that the revenue, the future profits are going to be decentralized, and therefore, that same thing that we're struggling for a term that means deduplication slash uniformity, it
Mm-hmm.
also means that the production of a stuck should not be subjected to human management in any way. The funds are always going to be applied using an AI in a way that is always purely outcome focused, in the same way that you're looking for the deduplication operation of it, right?
Yeah, yeah. There is another thing there, isn't
There's
there?
another thing there. And it's a
Yeah.
big thing, and to me, that's the winning thing. That thing of being able to provide decentralized revenue streams, decentralized profit sharing, to allow you to actually fucking launch your project from nothing and get what would otherwise
Well,
be
that's well,
regulated
that's
funding.
that's the home run, isn't it?
That's home
Someone
time. That's
someone
home
comes up with
time.
an idea, has no money. Someone looks at that idea, going, "Oh, that's a good idea. I could use that."
Yeah,
Puts
and
money against it.
right. Well, no, because that's still participatory. Someone, a pure, someone looks at the idea and says that could make a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
puts
And
money
there's
against it,
and has no input into it.
and has
Yeah,
no
that's
interest
the
in the
yeah.
outcome from it,
There's
and
no
just wants to make
security.
money from it. If we
Yeah,
can provide a platform where that use case is guaranteed to be decentralized returns, and that we could stand up to the SEC, that is absolute home run. That's home
that
run of the Dreamcatcher.
sounds that sounds like the most expensive bit to do, actually.
I don't think
Uh,
so.
but it, but you're right. It's the
I
home
think
run.
the most expensive bit has already been done.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's runway behind us. Um, we have no, we can't claw that back,
I didn't say we had to. I'm just saying that, like, so I guess I have a query for you then.
hmm
That sounds like a narrative that I just described, right? A
It
narrative
does.
of a funder who is vulnerable to securities exploitation. Uh, that's a narrative wherein the SEC would get involved in that narrative right now, and they'd be like, "Hang on, Sonny,
Yeah,
you just fell
yeah,
under our jurisdiction there, right?"
yeah.
Now,
Bad boy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so, my question to you is: do you think it's actually feasible to make a system that can do that? And the follow up question is: if you do think it's feasible, what is the dead zone between um, for something to be decentralized, it has to be used by multiple other people in multiple different ways. That creates a dead zone where, like, I couldn't make it a decentralized fundable stuck if it was only ever for me and only me, right? And then there's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
then, like, if it was me and you now and we were two independent entities, that's still not decentralized revenue if the revenue was solely derived from you and independently me. At some point there's a number of independent people earning revenue from a thing that makes it decentralized enough. But what is that number, right? And that's gonna kill some
hmm
projects. It'll kill far less projects than not having a decentralized funding mechanism available, but it will still be a dead zone. I think it's very small, like under a
I
thousand bucks.
again I'll state my ignorance, but it sounds like that answer really pivots on the size of the naps. Um, if you were to fund up front a bunch of guys and then stand back and get them to build Excel, that's not security. If you were to fund being able to change the font from 12 to 14, and that could be reused in many ways, not so much.
Why is the
So,
Excel story a security?
um, if you have no other, so as I understand it, again, I'm very much not skilled in the art on this one, but as I understand it, if you don't have any direction over how your money is spent,
Yep.
then you're essentially handing it over to someone else. Now,
Yeah,
the
and so
spirit of the law,
why does that in the case of Excel, why does that make it a security? Are you intending the Excel was built on the Dreamcatcher platform?
well, sorry, I mean, for this thought experiment, I'm just ignoring Dreamcatcher, but if you were to put in a whole bunch of things saying what I really need to do is to have something a bit like Excel, here's what I'm thinking, go away, do it, come back, and I'm going to make tons of cash. Um, that is the distance between the funder and the people doing it is too large. So the people doing it could actually take that cash and then just buy Lamborghinis.
Nah, that's still not a security because the guy putting the money in was like, I want Excel. The issue that would have made it a security if that person convinced some other people to give them their money so that they could manage the process of building Excel. That's the
All right,
difference.
all right. So, okay, so a whole bunch of retail investors put in $10 a piece,
Yep,
100,000 of those. Now you got a
yep,
million. Go build Excel.
yep,
Then you've got a problem.
yep.
Um,
Because
okay.
you need to protect the retail investors because it's a massive human weakness to believe the story that someone tells you. If you give me $100 now, I'll give you $1,000 later. Everyone falls for that. That's not fucking.
Yeah.
That's, that's
No,
just how people be.
lots of people do, and it's like, wow.
Everyone falls for it, and so being able to guarantee that that is not happening ever is
So I need to maybe I should spend a bit of time and get myself ginned up on this one. But the
well.
fun
I
thing, um,
I actually don't think it matters
yeah,
because it doesn't change what we're building here. It
it
simply
doesn't.
restricts it restricts some of the activity, but
Well, it
it
kind of
doesn't. Yeah.
just there's no way we're gonna be able to step forward without legal advice anyway.
Well, no, we can, but we know very clearly what activities we need to block, and those activities are um, being able to solicit funds to make a funder that isn't involved in the building process.
Yes. So that
So
that's the definition of a user because a user has many hats. Um, but is by funding um, generates demand. Funder basically can generate a stock. Now that sounds like
no, a funder.
participation. Yeah.
No, no, no. So to simplify that all down, the rule that I think makes a funder participatory is
Mhm.
if we make it that when it comes time to pay, like if our QA systems have, our proof systems have said, yep, this the work of this user, this
Mhm.
piece of talent, this talent has proved solution to this stuck. We are about to transfer the prepayment to this person. If we simply add a button that requires the funder to click go, where they can click no and get the money back,
Is that participation?
Absolutely, dude. Because we didn't take your money and run with it. You, at the point of the work being completed, said, yes, yes, that work has been done to my satisfaction, and I'll take it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, that sounds reasonable to me. I
It's a very cruel
y-
bar to put on the talent because the talent, you know,
well, the talent, if they've done something and the guy says no, then inside the system, we could stop that user using the thing that's been produced and allow the talent who's produced it to.
no, I don't want to get into any of that. Like that's us trying to be the boss in a platform that's meant to be bossless.
Yeah, but it'd be shitty if someone asks you to do something and they click no and then use it
No,
anyway.
no, because then like if you wanted that, you would need to enter into a higher grade contract using the gateway company to manage the liability. You should be able to do that, but I'm talking about the vanilla the permissionless Dreamcatcher. In order to not be a security, if you let the funder participate in that way, you have, I think, and I'll agree that we need some legal advice at least on that bit alone. I think that the funder was completely eyes open, had
Yeah,
no, there was no way the funder was getting ripped off at that point.
yeah, yeah. I
And the
guess
user,
I think you're right.
the talent, I would argue, is like you shouldn't have chosen something that only had like one guy funding it. Like that's a dumb thing
But
to
isn't
do.
isn't this back to reputation?
Yeah, you should do work that has high reputation funders behind it and has a multitude of them because that indicates a form of demand that you should be chasing. It means
Yeah,
it incentivizes the talent to chase those things that are of higher value than the one-off things.
yeah. And I don't know what the Latin is, but thunder and
Funder beware.
talent and beware. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like make your own choice.
yeah.
I've got so very little soul left. I'm not really going to spend much time thinking too hard about securities law.
Don't worry about it.
Um,
I don't think you need to.
yeah,
This diagram is exactly what I was looking for. There's a few sort of lines here and there that we need to tamp down, but I mean, shall we call it a night
yeah.
or a morning?
So weirdness of living on a sphere. Um, oh, blight. The trader is the only thing. So I'm going to go back through this because this is very info rich call.
Mm.
So by tomorrow, probably, what I will do is update this so it's self consistent from everything we've said, and I might be able to get further into the narrative of each user does this and so on. But the important thing, I think, is what you're saying is let's get this consistent with what we've been saying today. I haven't disagreed or found any friction points in anything
No,
you're
man.
saying.
This has been a
Um,
very smooth conversation. I think
yeah, a
it's
lot better than yesterday. Yesterday
yeah. Well, we're just trying to
it's,
reorient, really.
yeah, it's just hard, man. This is
Yeah,
hard stuff to
yeah, I
figure
know.
out. Right.
And thinking back on yesterday's conversation when I re-listened to it, it might help to think of it like the way I'm looking at it is that we're using the Dreamcatcher to make the JSON function platform. It's if we raised funds against Robot Army Company, it would spend its time building primarily the JSON function platform because the JSON function platform is a defendable enterprise piece of software anyway. It just so happens that it's being managed by the Dreamcatcher way of work management and fund management.
and which is an agreement between ourselves and whoever wants to fund it. We're saying this is how we're doing it,
Mm.
even though it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
Um, and the JSON format, of course, is well, we're bootstrapping the gateway company. I think when we get a funder who wants to fund the JSON format and its expression as the Dreamcatcher is actually contracting with the gateway company, and we're contracting with the gateway company. That sounds like walking the walk, um, because otherwise we would be directly contracting with the funder to build something outside of the gateway company.
Yeah, that's right. We're not thickening the Dreamcatcher ecosystem,
Yeah,
right? It's just that I think it's easier to think about the JSON platform as a set of stucks within the Dreamcatcher, as
yeah,
opposed
well,
to,
yeah.
you know,
That's precisely what it is.
yeah, and that actually
Yeah, yeah,
makes it better, because if you say we're going to use the Dreamcatcher to build the Dreamcatcher, that's sort of like, yeah, that doesn't
yeah.
actually
This,
fucking help anyone.
yeah,
But
this is, yeah, this is where we are. We're demanding. We've identified the stuff,
yeah,
and then we're
yeah,
looking for a funder.
yeah,
Um, like,
that's
yeah,
right. That's and some talent, because I'm sick of coding. But
yeah,
yeah, that's exactly it. And I think it makes more. It's easier to explain that we're using the Dreamcatcher to build Artifact and to build the JSON function platform. That's an easier explanation to people.
it does. Um, uh, yeah, we might need to nuance it a bit because depending on how sophisticated the funder is and so on, JSON, who's he, etc. They they're going to look for outcomes, but the outcome we can express is like
Yeah,
we
the
need a
out.
tool to do this,
Yeah,
and once we get that, then
right.
we've got this machine. Blah blah
It's
blah.
going to be wildly
Yeah,
popular because of the pivotal role it needs to play in the ecosystem. It has to be open source. There's traditionally a problem with making money from open source. We have the Dreamcatcher, which is a way of monetizing open source. And so we want to build this useful piece of open source and bundle it with this open source billing or open source business model. And that's how we're going to make money.
yeah. My hunch is unless there is a high net worth out there with extraordinary patience and intelligence, we're just going to have to use it and make money and show that
That's what
we're
I
making
think
money.
is actually better, because I don't think, first of all, no one who was just looking for a cash return would have tolerated the depth of burn and the time it took to get to
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we are now,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
exactly.
um, also the twists and turns that were necessary would have, most people would have dropped off the
Yeah,
boat at that
yeah.
point.
Well, that's one of the Y Combinator metrics, isn't it? If you've taken more than 6 months to get to where you are, sitting in front of me pitching, then it's not a good idea, which is
Yeah.
a ludicrous metric,
Not, yeah,
in my
it
view.
kills it. Well, I mean, it works for them, but it kills a certain class of effort, and I think
Well,
we're
yeah,
one
it
of them.
kills hard problems, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It
Yeah.
really does. So, what that means for us, I want to stress to you, is that many of your audiences, when you're trying to solve a problem or think of a problem, you're often trying to imagine yourself being an investor. And I
Hmm.
think that actually in this model, that doesn't matter, because we're not, I don't think that we shouldn't be trying to imagine pitching to a big investor. We should be trying to get this little investor model, this funder model, the consumer model going just a little bit, like just get a little bit of usage going through it, and then take that whole thing and be like, look, guys, money's moving, and then that's the pitch to fund the Robot Army company, is like, we built this little thing and it's got
I
great
think so.
metrics.
I think so. With the exceptional trader, because that I think is a bit of an outlier.
We need to, well, we need to
We need
indicate that as like we want to make that, and that's what we should go to the crypto community with, where we're like, we got a plan to make this piece of the crypto ecosystem that you all want, which is guaranteed, regulatory, stable.
yeah, it's hugely valuable, but it's almost
Mm,
a different argument. And
yeah,
what you just said about 30 seconds ago, I think it's really interesting. Um, if we consider ourselves, what we're doing right now is which bucket of user are we in? Consuming,
yeah.
demanding, talent, and funding.
We should only care
We're all in
about.
there.
We
We're
should
all
only,
there.
yeah. We should only care about getting the narratives for the participants in the network going. The big
Yeah,
investors is a waste of time. Let's get the little network going, and that's all we got to do, I think.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
All right,
Good. All right, man. Um,
that was cool. The diagram looks
that was
great,
really
man.
cool. Actually, I really enjoyed this one. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this.
You didn't enjoy the other ones.
No, yesterday it felt like I was on a skiddy slope trying to go uphill in MX-5 with back-wheel drive
Yeah.
and dodgy tires. Uh, but we got there.
We got there.
But right, okay. So I'm going to refine this by tomorrow,
Okay, sweet.
and I'll try and get some narratives through it. But the narrative search space is quite large, and so I might do very simple ones.
Yeah, simple's good, buddy. Simple's good.
Um,
Simple's good. And it's
yeah,
really about using this diagram
yeah,
as the grounding for what the narratives are.
yeah,
Because I think that there is actually a a finite number of narratives that could represent every type of path within this system that doesn't just repeat or become part of some other narrative. I think I sense that
Well,
that number's about
there
20.
should be there should be, and that would be including nested and looping narratives. But
Yeah, I think it's about 20, really.
yeah,
And I think you'd probably, O1 would probably be able to sort that out if you could find a way to express this diagram to O1
yeah.
in a,
Um,
in the right way.
I've been looking at Plantum. Tech. Owen just loves text diagrams. I will look at how to get this into something else. I probably just give Photo an image and say, "Give me a mermaid chart that does something like this." It's the logical construction of it, as opposed to the consumption.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right. And it's like if you could get those narratives, then honestly, the planning is done. Like it is definitely possible to exhaustively list all the narratives that you could do in this diagram.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. No, I agree. Sorry, I was trying to figure out some way of disagreeing there. I failed. Interesting enough. Okay, so right, we're home in time for tea and meadows right now.
Yeah,
Back slaps all round. But an interesting thing I was going to mention. I mentioned before. Uh, I the voice interactive OpenAI
yeah,
version. Uh, I had a discussion with it for 59 minutes before it cut me off, and it came out with some really quite interesting stuff, which I'll share. But it was all good in terms of comparison between other economic models, other ways of doing startups, pros, cons, things we should be concerned of. It was a really productive hour. So unfortunately, I didn't record it, and cutting and pasting from the app on your phone is a pain in the arse.
hmm,
But I'll share it. But there's quite a lot of insights. The TLDR is given everything that O1 knows. Uh, this is going to well accelerate any of the existing models. Other than I think raised big projects like building a stealth bomber.
Yeah, right. Like those things are
Yeah,
not. That's not
yeah.
what this is for. This is for little
Basically,
projects. This is for
yeah,
little
yeah.
projects.
It
All
was
right.
it was
So
really really interesting.
I got If you got a few more minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I've got as
Yeah.
much as you have.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's
So I've uh where are we? Golly gosh. This discussion that I had with O1 is
mhm,
about making a map of all the major package registries on the internet, but
mhm.
paying attention to their control structures and like
Ooh,
uh,
that's kind of complex. Okay.
arguing about, well, see, because O1 knows all those things already, right? So it
Well, yeah,
comes out
because
with
life's
this,
so very short. Yeah,
right?
you
It's
just
like
sign up.
originally developed by Isaac Schluter, blah blah blah. NPM Inc. managed the NPM registry until blah blah blah, and then it's sort of like based on its training data in O1, we can probably map out all of the registries, including ones that have long since died, and say what their incentive was, what their demise was, those types of things. Um,
Yeah, yeah, very much
so
so.
that seemed pretty
That's actually very
interesting.
similar to the conversation I was talking to you about I had yesterday, which is essentially, you know, describing the marketing landscape. Why would this fail? I was telling it to be critical. You know, you know, give it a good kicking and so on. Um, and that is similar to what you're doing here, which is like, okay, list this now against this baseline. What
Mm,
we're trying to do, why would it, why would it, why would it
yeah,
fail? Why would it be better, and so on.
right.
But
So the
it's
other the
it's dead
other
easy to do, right?
the other
Sorry.
interesting thought model that I wanted to highlight was I spoke to O1 about asking for a context diagram for the internet when it was first being made, when there was no
Uh-huh.
internet, but they'd made the protocol and they were like, oh, this is going to be good. And then, but they would have had the same issues. They're like, it needs to be open, it needs to be, this and that, it needs to be compatible. And they still had to go out and be the first guys and be that lonely dude on the dance floor before anyone else was playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that I thought was a fun little way to think about what we're trying to do. And
Oh, you could it's not a solution here. You could constrict that prompt to a date at this point. Um, uh, what was the situation in terms of the internet? Because the internet evolved over time, and
mm,
it's given a few vague answers there, but it really wants to help.
mm,
But it's like in 1993 in CERN, um, what were the goals of the internet,
right,
and what projecting forward by 2 years, what did they have to do next?
right.
Um,
Yeah, okay. Um, it turned it into a charter, which was interesting. Like it's sort of when I read
System
this,
to create and sustain open station. Yeah, yeah.
it
It's
sort of sounds pretty like it's kind of close enough to be ours.
yeah.
Um,
We're we're converging on this because the stuff that I'll ping over to you once I've got it off my phone um, was it's very life affirming in that we're not a couple of complete idiots living in caves doing
hmm.
something nobody cares about. Um,
But these
but there's
commitments
lots
to
of detail about
non-dominance,
why.
like we could actually, I think, with a little bit of prompting, get O1 to generate the articles of incorporation for the gateway company because it understands
Yeah.
why it needs to not dominate and why this gateway needs to be fair, open, but also compliant.
Yeah,
Um,
but also those articles of association need to be prompted so that someone can ask um, questions that are not necessarily implicitly answered in the article. Because who wants to read through articles of
yeah, you need to be
association,
able to
right?
chat with it, right? You need to be able to
Yeah.
chat with it. Yeah. Yeah, so
Well,
what
that's really cool. That's
I
really
always,
cool.
I actually
I like
do,
that.
when it tells me that I've said something that's fantastic,
I
I,
try to stop it doing that. It just keeps on going. What's it
well,
doing?
it doesn't always say that to me, so maybe I'm less
Well,
interesting.
yeah. It keeps on
Um,
trying to flatter, which is
right.
slightly irritating.
Right. So the other angle I wanted to highlight here is that yes, you've got this diagram, and
Yeah,
that's for us.
yeah.
What we also need is to write a context diagram for someone else about to undertake a venture using our system, because that shows a level of empathy with what their problems are and their uh, uneasinesses, right? Because they're going to have a pretty thick line going out to the
Ah,
Dreamcatcher gateway, right? And so if we can draw these context diagrams for a range of different tasks for entities that are at different stages of their life cycle, like you could have someone who's just got an idea, someone who's had a little company for a little while, someone who's in a big corporation, someone who's in a military contract. And if we can generate from their perspective how they would model coming into our system, that's pretty useful
yeah, I agree. It's useful.
because we care about them. We want their venture to succeed, and that's
Yeah.
why we need to imagine what it's like to be them.
The thing I would say and add to that, I think that's absolutely right. What looking for is a way of taking the diagram that we're mushing around and moving stuff around and so on, putting that into an AI so that someone we haven't even thought of um, comes up with a context that we didn't know about, and it can respond to it. And it shouldn't be that hard. Um, as long as we can get this diagram into text. So if we agree one diagram, and that we can, over an hour or so trace through, and it's like, yeah, this one diagram is right. We can translate that into text, and then that goes into a bot. Then the bot generates the whatever diagram it is. Maybe it's not a context diagram. Maybe it's a flowchart. Maybe they've got a specific thing. I would like to build this thing. What's going to happen if I use the Dreamcatcher? And it's like, oh, yeah, here we go. Um, because if we have multiple versions of this, versioning is going to get really tricky. Um, and if, but if we have one version of this, it gets really hard for us to actually, figure out whether this is complete and correct. So there's a dividing line. But once we get it into text, then we're accelerating it, and anyone can ask anything. Um, I talked way about 30 seconds longer than I was expecting on that obvious point.
Okay. So that was all I got to. I found those interesting thought experiments. Is there anything else from your side you wanted to?
No. So
Nope.
we've got work for today. Um, I think you'll be mildly amused by uh, the chat on this diagram. So I wrote the diagram, scribbled it out, and then described it to O1, and got back some quite good feedback, uh, and then wrote this out. So by tomorrow, I'll update this with what we've said today and try and get a few things out in terms of narratives. Um, uh, yeah, well, basically, that's it. My priority chart is really quite small right now. I don't know.
Okay.
Is there anything I'm missing? It's Chart narratives CRM.
What do you think this prompt should be? If I'm taking the image of the Miro diagram, what would I be asking for to do with it?
Okay. Well, first of all, tell it this is a context diagram that expresses a system called Dreamcatcher and its interaction with external entities. Just be nice to the bot every time. Okay. Now, what are you asking with the please lay out these relationships? You're saying summarize, or are you saying create another chart? Are you saying look for problems? What's that last part? Oh, yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Yep. Business rules. Then a set of. No. Sorry. One task at a time. Give it a set of business rules. Yeah. The quality plummets whenever you give it more than one complex task at a time. Okay. Right, it's done that. Now ask your second question. Now it's returned. Actually, you're on 4.0.
Have to, because it's the only it has image. 01 doesn't have image.
Oh yeah. What I'd say is before you do that, if you can go back to the 4.0 and just say, think more carefully. I don't think you have captured everything.
Look, I'll leave that as an exercise up to you. I just want to skim through this and see how well it does.
Yeah. These are just hints and tips.
I know it probably pains you, my prompting, but I honestly, it takes so long to learn how to prompt. I'm just like, I'll leave that up to you.
It's still painful after. Yeah.
Ooh, that's getting a lot of thought going on there, eh?
Yeah.
Wow, that is grinding, hey? Oof.
Here we go. End user, it's an end user, it's an end user, it's an end user. I want multiple secure payment traders.
Oh, that's cool.
It's not bad. What else is it picked up as a trader? And okay, I want to manage. Right. Okay, so it's gone off piece there.
Yeah.
At no point have we.
Well, sort of, because there's going to be an administrator of the gateway, so that's not wrong.
We've implied it.
Yeah.
The diagram hasn't stated it, and so we shouldn't be considering it.
Customer support. Yep, fair enough.
That's actually quite an interesting thought experiment. Let me try.
Yeah.
Because your prompting is shit.
I know. I didn't say it wasn't. Not even offended. Okie dokie. I will leave you to it then.
Okay, let's get on with it then. So,
yep.
Tomorrow is Wednesday. I don't think there's anything particular. I should be able to get on by about 0700 GMT.